Episode 2, Girls in Paradise. Early the next morning, Derd was the first to wake up while it was still dark. Sho and the others immediately used the Guardian to discreetly head for the hillside of the island, the mountain where the waterfall flowed. Myron was waiting in the camping unit with P and Pio, and Apuesta and Palti were flying with them. Wow! I didn't have time to look at the island at all during the battle, but now that I look at it, it's amazing how the Guardians move. Sho exclaimed with excitement as he looked around the island, and Derd and the others chuckled. The morning breeze, still dim but pleasant, woke Sho up clearly, and as he filled his lungs with the clear air, he felt as if his whole body was being cleansed. It's a really nice island, Sho thought again. However, as they approached the mountain and came to a steep cliff, Sho's Guardian suddenly emitted a beeping warning sound and landed on the ground. What? Sho was naturally upset. Oh, what? What do you mean? Could it be an accident? As if chasing after Sho, Derd and the others slowly descended to the ground. However, their Guardians didn't seem to deactivate. What? Has Sho's Guardian disappeared? Hey! What's wrong, Sho? We're almost to the top, right? Derd and Aaliyah made the same questioning faces as Sho, but then Palti noticed and said, oh. It's probably because of the 30-meter limit. That's what Derd told the Cabots yesterday. Oh! Everybody else noticed the voice as well. Then, perhaps reacting to the voices outside, Myron peeked out of the window of the camping unit and said, What's going on, you guys? Ignoring Myron, Aaliyah giggled. Well, this is good training for Sho, isn't it? Then I'll go on ahead. What? Wait, Aaliyah. Before Sho could call out to her, Aaliyah flew towards the top with a whoosh. Haha, Sho. If you don't get there in time, Sho will have to skip breakfast. What? I'm going with Aaliyah. Then Derd flew away, leaving Apuesta and Palti behind. Sho looked at them silently but with anxious eyes. Sho, I'm sorry. Perhaps the Cabots have taken this into account. Well then, Sho, we're going ahead of you. We'll be waiting for you, okay? What? No, that's not right. Anne? I don't know what it is, but good luck, Sho-kun. Despite Sho's cries, the two of them also flew to the top of the mountain, carrying the unit containing Myron. However, they left a climbing hat and water for him, which was good. Sho, who was left alone, was astonished for a while and then shouted in desperation. Oh shit! Wait up, guys! Following Derd and the others, Sho desperately climbed up the almost vertical mountainside, looking for a place that still looked relatively gentle. Hi. Z. Haha. After more than an hour, Sho managed to reach the top of the mountain, groggy and exhausted. He wobbled his way to the girls, and when the countdown was over, he fell into the goal. Sho was drenched in sweat and out of breath, but the girls supported his arms and helped him up. Myron came out of the camping unit, holding the incubator with P and Pio in it, and chuckled, You're so sloppy. Look, Sho. They're just about to come out. Huh. Derd pointed in that direction. Seeing this, Sho lost his speech. Beyond the sea, the sun began to rise from the horizon, illuminating this world with a radiance more dazzling than that of a jewel. Not only Sho, but also Derd, Aaliyah, Apuesta, Palti, and Myron were all bathed in the light and forgot to speak as they took in the magnificent view. It was Sho who mumbled first. Amazing. This place was the highest point on Banjo Island. There were no obstacles in the way, of course, and the view was so beautiful that it seemed to connect the nearby lake with the ocean, almost like a fantasy. He felt as if he was standing in the center of the world. He had seen this kind of scene on TV before, but it was completely different from the excitement of seeing it with the naked eye. It's so beautiful, isn't it? I wanted to show you this. Derd? Is that why we're here so early in the morning? Derd smiled, and Sho appreciated the sentiment and watched the sunrise happen once more. The sun was gradually revealing itself, and as it did, the world became brighter and brighter. P and Pio seemed to be moved as well, and their voices seemed to be higher than usual. You can't see the sunrise from my tent because the opposite cape is in the way. This is the first time I've seen it, and I'm always impressed by the sight. Besides, the air is different here. It's really, really clear. That's right. Honestly, climbing mountains is too much work, but if you consider that it's for the sake of seeing this, you'll be a little more motivated, right? Yeah. I'm so glad we were able to bring Sho along with us. Yeah, thanks, guys. Impressed, Sho took a deep breath. It wasn't an illusion. Dird and the others were all taking deep breaths as well. Just then, there was a lovely sound, and everyone turned to look. Behind them, Myron had an awkward look on her face. What the hell are you complaining about? You haven't eaten anything since you woke up, so what's the point? Myron, who was still holding the incubator, blushed a little apologetically, probably because she had indeed ruined an emotional scene. Everyone laughed, and because of that, Myron turned even redder, and the bright sun was shining like a blessing to Sho. Sho and the others all started preparing breakfast. The camping unit, which was supposed to be the size of a bus, was now the size of 2 large buses and was floating on the lake. It looked like a boat, and Sho thought it looked like a transformed robot. Before long, Palti called out, "Breakfast is ready," and everyone gathered on the roof of the camping unit. A folding table and chairs were set up on the roof, where a Western-style breakfast, mainly bread, was laid out on the table. Eating on the lake was so stylish that Sho couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, I haven't eaten bread since the mainland. It's been a long time." Actually, I was thinking of collaborating with Apuesta to sell various kinds of breads at Tommy's store. I've already told Dird and Aaliyah about it, but I wanted to ask Sho and Myron-sensei for their opinions as well. Apuesta nodded, and Sho sat down in his chair, replying, "I see." Myron noticed something and said, "Hey, but isn't this all bread? Aren't there any other kinds?" Oh, it's true, Sho also noticed when he was told. It was true that the bread was all white bread, but the sandwiches were different. Palti replied a little apologetically. "Yes, we didn't have enough time to make all kinds of breads, but we're trying to be creative with what we put in them, so we're using all kinds of jams and honey. If Sho or Sensei can think of any ingredients that would be tasty in between, please let us know." You're very business-minded. Oh, Apuesta, is this what you were talking about when you were gathering ingredients? Apuesta nodded and said, "Yes." Sho was impressed and took a piece of bread. It had honey in it, and the rich sweetness filled his mouth and relieved his fatigue. The simple taste was really delicious. Myron was also satisfied with the bread, saying, "Oh, it's pretty good." One by one, the girls reached out and took a bite of the bread. After they had all eaten and Sho had given Palti his impressions of each piece, Myron gave P and Pio a crumb of bread and said, "By the way, how are you guys planning to spend your time until tomorrow? Dird is going to pick horseradish, right?" "Yes, but I know where the horseradish is and it won't take too long, so we can just pick some before we leave tomorrow. So, I'll help you guys out today." "Oh, then Dird, could you and Apuesta help me gather the ingredients for the bread? If Dird can help me, I'd like to catch and dry some of these fish for the broth that we usually use for our meals." "Yeah, okay." "Oh, I'll help you with that then." "Really? That would be great, Sho." Dird circled her fingers in approval. The only one left was Aaliyah, who also agreed to help, saying, "Well, I don't have anything to do, so I'll help too." Finally, Dird asked Myron, "So, what are you going to do, Sensei?" "Me? I'm going to." And with that, Myron cut off her words at the point of concern and ran off to her room downstairs. Myron came back to the puzzled Sho and friends wearing a military uniform, dark sunglasses over her eyes, and a whip in her hand. Sho thought, Sensei? What the hell are you planning to fight?" "Don't waste your breath, you scum. Why don't you just get ready while I count to 10? "What?" Sho and the others didn't understand what was being shouted at them. Then Myron threw a large burlap sack in front of Sho and the others and said, "I will now outline the plan. Listen up, you scum. In other words, You want to catch a deer and put it in a hamburger. Sho looked at Myron dumbfounded. Apparently the bread meal earlier had given her some kind of inspiration, and she was selfishly asking for a hamburger made with venison. Sergeant Myron cracked her whip and said, "There are no animals on this island that prey on deer. That means they can grow in numbers as they please. This is an important operation to protect the island's ecosystem." Or something like that. Myron just wants to eat a deer burger. Shut up, Private Aaliyah. I'll make you a bun-only burger without venison. I'm sorry, Sergeant, sir. I'm dying to eat some deer. Right. That's the mission summary. Any questions? At Myron's words, Palti raised a fearful hand. Sir. Sergeant, can't we just have a fish burger with fish from the lake? Fish doesn't go well with that bread. I'm tired of eating fish. Palti's question was brushed off, followed by Dird raising her hand. Yes. But Sensei, didn't Sensei have a lot of beef and stuff? I'm telling you, it's not Sensei, Private Dird. Dird's eyes glazed over and finally Apuesta said with a subtle shudder, even if you catch it, it takes a few days for the meat to mature, but we can solve that problem by using various seasonings. Only the remaining meat is usually aged. If you understand, everyone line up on the other side of the river. Apparently, she wanted to eat a venison hamburger no matter what. All of them had grown tired of dealing with Myron, gave up their opinions and headed for the mountainous shore of the lake as Myron had ordered. Sho and the others all deeply agreed with Aaliyah, who blurted out, "This is going to be a big hassle." P and Pio, who were on duty at the time, saw them off with a little squeal. Then, in front of Sho and the others who were all together on the shore, Myron said with satisfaction, "Okay, we're all here. Now, let's make our final preparations before we head out." Myron gathered up the mud on the ground and threw it at Sho and the others. Whoa! What are you doing, Sensei? Wild animals are sensitive. If you walk around smelling like a human like you guys, they'll be wary of you. Whoa! But that doesn't mean you have to throw it at me. Hiya! Whoa! Ack! Dird, Aaliyah, and Apuesta all ran for their lives, but Palti didn't get away fast enough, and Myron's mysterious gaze fell on her. That's it. Myron, flailing like a child, smeared mud all over Palti's face. At that moment, the air in the place froze cold. From the surrounding bushes and trees, the birds flew away in unison as if they were fleeing. Sho and Myron were the only two who didn't understand the meaning of this strange phenomenon, but Dird and the others turned pale with fear and started to sprint away from the scene. Then, suddenly, Palti grabbed Myron. What? The large Myron was slammed headfirst into the swamp by the hands of the lovely Palti. The sight of Myron buried in the ground was truly bizarre. A moment later, Sho found himself floating in the air as well. Whoa! Sho let out a short scream and was knocked down into the swamp, but fortunately he fell on his back and was not buried headfirst like Myron. Ouch! What the hell? What's happening? Hiya. Jeez. Ugh. Whoa. Hey, guys. As Sho tried to comprehend the situation, Dird, Aaliyah, and Apuesta were caught by Palti and were thrown down in succession, falling near Sho. Sensei's an idiot. Bwahaha. Of course, it's bad if you do that to Palti, Myron. Ow, that hurts. Dird and Aaliyah sat up and yelled. Apuesta was in tears, and Sho was just appalled. The expressionless Palti slowly approached Sho and the others. What? The expression on her face was not one of anger. However, her face was filled with a tremendous amount of intimidation that overwhelmed anyone who saw her. Dird, Aaliyah, and Apuesta were trembling silently, as if they knew how terrifying it was. Apparently, they couldn't even speak. The same was true for Sho. The approaching Palti was completely clouded by the sharpness of a large predator. He was like a frog stared at by a snake. The name eventually came out of the back of Sho's throat as if it was poking at him. Palti? She mumbled, as if to confirm if she was really Palti or not. At that moment, the tension that had dominated the place until then disappeared like a lark. Palti's eyes fluttered. Then she looked down at Sho and the others, huffed as if she had finally grasped the situation, and put her hands on both cheeks. "Oh! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I lost my mind and I'm so embarrassed and ashamed." Palti turned her back to Sho and the others, crouched down, hurriedly scooped mud from the ground to hide her embarrassment, and began to apply it to her cheeks, as if she were applying makeup. Sho and the others finally let out a huff as if they were out of it. Derd shouted with tears in her eyes. "Damn it. It's all Sensei's fault. Palti's really scary. Why did she have to throw us too? Hey Myron, say something. Sensei is buried." "Oh," Apuesta said, and Sho and the others turned their gaze towards her at once. Myron, who was completely buried in the mud, not only her head, but also her upper body, was twitching like a frog half swallowed by a snake. "Whoa! Sensei! Ha ha ha! I thought I was going to die. I saw my great-grandfather, who died when I was 7, waving at me over the bridge." Myron was covered in mud and breathing heavily, and Aaliyah said in a prickly tone, "You should have just let him take you." But surprisingly, Myron was not offended. "I tried to go. But then, just as I was about to run across the bridge, it suddenly broke and I fell off. So I found myself here, covered in mud. Oh no, when my great-grandfather smiles and calls me, it's usually when he's about to pull some kind of prank on me. It's been so long that I'd forgotten." Anyway, is everyone ready to go? Let's go capture some deer." Myron, who had fainted a moment ago, stood up and walked into the mountains with her whip flicking. Apparently, she was preoccupied with the deer burger. Shit, what is her problem? "Sensei, you haven't seen Palti angry, have you? Even if she did, I don't think it would change much." "Oh, please don't talk about that again, everyone." Sho silently agreed with Apuesta's opinion that it wouldn't change much, and an embarrassed Palti calmed the three of them down. Sho and the others looked at each other as if they had given up and followed Myron. After that, the group continued to search for deer, with Myron leading the way. After confirming the deer's route by feces and hoofprints, they successfully captured a large doe with Derd playing the role of chaser and Myron playing the role of ambusher. It was an easy job for Derd and the others who could use guardians. Yes. Shokuen and Palti, you two go back and prepare lunch first. Derd and I will take care of the rest." Myron told them in front of the deer they had caught, and after Aaliyah complained and glared at them, Sho and Palti agreed and headed back to the lake. "I can't believe we actually caught a deer," Palti said happily as they returned to the lake. I guess so. I'm going to go wash off the mud first. If you don't mind, Sho, please follow me." After saying that, Palti ran towards the lake, and to his surprise, she jumped straight into the lake. From the crystal clear water, he could see her swimming gracefully while submerged, and Palti headed towards the camping unit floating in the lake. Palti. Sho tried to chase after her, but the coldness of the water on his feet made him shout, "Whoa." Perhaps it was because the lake was located at a high altitude, but the water temperature was quite low. Hesitant to jump in, Sho ran towards the pier that connected to the camping unit and chased Palti from there. He was relieved to see Palti emerge safely from the water. That feels so good. To his surprise, Palti suddenly started to take off her wet clothes right there. What? Palti, oh. The mud on the soles of his shoes caused him to slip, and he stepped off the pier. Naturally, Sho fell headfirst into the lake. The coldness of the water caused his body to shrink all at once. It's so cold! In front of Sho, who quickly lifted his face out of the water, Palti, who was up on the pier, stretched out her hand in a panic. "Sho!" "Oh, thank you." However, remembering that Palti had undressed earlier, Sho hesitated to take her hand. In the meantime, Sho's clothes absorbed the water and became heavier, making it harder for him to move. "Excuse me." Seeing Shou's hesitation, Palti forcefully grabbed Shou's collar and pulled him out of the lake, and Shou was careful not to look at Palti as much as possible. That's when he finally realized that Palti was wearing the swimsuit he had given her earlier. "Are you okay, Shou?" "Oh, what? You were wearing a bathing suit." "Huh? Oh, please don't look so closely at me too much." The two of them sat on the pier, both soaking wet, their cheeks flushed. "Anyway, we'll catch a cold if we stay like this. Let's get dressed right away." Palti half-heartedly ripped off Shou's clothes, and Shou was appalled for a while, but soon realized the current emergency and shouted, "What? Whoa! It's okay. I can take it off by myself." Shou was taken into the shower room by Palti, who hurriedly operated the shower and turned on the hot water, but since the shower room was originally designed for one person, the two of them naturally had to put their bodies close together when they entered. "Oh, you know what, Palti, I'm good for later. I'll wait outside, so you can warm up first." Shou was about to leave the shower room when Palti grabbed his hand and wouldn't let go. Shou noticed that her hand was shaking slightly. "Palti, are you okay? Here, you need to warm up properly." Sensing that her body was cold, Shou managed to turn the shower that was hitting his back towards Palti from its cramped position. "Thank you, Shou. I'm not cold, though." "Huh. I'm sure you've heard this before, but I'm in a tight spot." Shou realized after being told. That reminded him of something Aaliyah once said, teasing Palti. "She's not very good in small spaces." Perhaps it was claustrophobia, he thought. "Oh, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm a little afraid of these places, too. Toilets are no good unless the door is open and tense, especially the kind with a roof. If it's not raining, I'd feel safer sleeping outside." Yeah, what? "Oh, but I'll be with Dird and the others." When staying at Shou's place, Palti often slept in the same tent as Apuesta. Shou wondered about that. It's okay to have someone by your side. "So, Palti." Her trembling hands were like those of a young child. Okay. I'll be with you, don't worry." "Thank you, Shou." At that moment, Palti's hands had stopped shaking. Apparently, she had calmed down. So, Shou, that I have one more favor to ask." "Huh? What? Could you please turn around and look at me?" "What?" Shou panicked. "I'm more relaxed when I look at someone's face." "No, is it? You, okay. I've come this far. I've got to do it." With this feeling, Shou took a chance and turned towards Palti. However, as expected, it was too embarrassing to face each other in this closed room, so he just couldn't look straight at her. "Well, then, why don't you take a shower first, Palti?" Yes, so after you." The only sound in the somewhat awkward air was the sound of the hot water from the shower gently hitting Palti's body. Even though she was wearing a bathing suit, the situation of having a girl taking a shower in front of him, within arm's reach, was something that shook Shou's reasoning violently. Especially if the other person were claustrophobic and had a vulnerable expression on her face, he would be tempted to give her a hug right away. Ugh, this is bad. Considering Palti, Shou can't leave first. He had to wait for Palti to finish taking a shower, but that was a tremendous hardship. Shou had no idea how painful it would be to be in the shower with a girl. "Shou, you're in here, right?" Yeah, I'm here." Palti called out to Shou several times in a faint voice. Although their bodies were facing each other, they couldn't help but look away from each other out of shame. That's why Palti kept calling out to him for confirmation. Oh my god, what am I supposed to do? If it had been Dird, he probably would not have been so conscious of it. However, the other person was a neat and beautiful woman with mature charm. She was like a child who was afraid to go to the bathroom at night, and the gap between the two made Shou uncomfortable. "Shou, it's okay if you look at me, okay?" That's what she said to him. Shou's gaze slowly made its way to her face. Palti looked shy and embarrassed, but she seemed relieved and giggled. It appeared that being with him was really helping to calm her down. Beautiful, isn't she? Shou thought as he looked at her face again. And it was not only her appearance that was soaked in hot water, but also the noble scent that oozed from within and the girlish vulnerability hidden behind it, all of which seemed to combine to create her charm. At the same time, it stirred up a tremendous desire for protection. Ugh. No, 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 no. I have to be strong here. Sho shook his head and fought desperately against his various desires. A few minutes later, when Palti finally left the shower, Sho was so relieved that he collapsed to the floor. After taking a shower, they were preparing lunch on the roof of the camping unit. P and Pio were making a lot of noise, as if they were hungry. Then Myron and the others finally arrived. Apparently, they had finished the dismantling work at the site, and all they had with them were a few large cases. I'm so tired. I can't wait to take a bath. The first one to run was Dirt, who left one of the cases with Sho and the others and then jumped straight into the lake. I hope this is the last time I'm covered in mud. Aaliyah followed Dirt into the lake. Finally, Apuesta was sucked into the lake without a word. Sho was impressed that she was able to jump into the lake that was so cold. Well, kids are so energetic. Palti, make me the most delicious hamburger with this. I've got some herbs and spices from around here, so use them as you see fit. See you later. With that, Myron placed the case full of meat on the table and made a spectacular dive into the lake, chasing after Dirt and the others. Oh, Sensei, that water's so cold. Wow! Sho tried to stop Myron, but it was already too late. A large column of water rose up, sending droplets of water flying onto Sho's face. And then, oh my god, what's wrong with this? It's too cold. Shouting, Myron started to swim up out of the lake in a panic, crawling as fast as she could. When Sho and Palti saw this, they looked at each other and laughed. Then, until lunch was ready, Myron kept mumbling and complaining about how strange it was that Dirt and the others didn't mind the coldness of the lake, and then Palti inadvertently mentioned that she had jumped in too, and that Sho had fallen in. Oh, so Sho and Palti both smell like they just took a shower. What do you mean they smell like they've had a shower? Dirt's nose is still weird, isn't it? Dog-like. Oh, Apuesta, is that a compliment? Dirt's cheeks puffed out, Aaliyah laughed out loud, and Apuesta also laughed happily, but the last word Aaliyah said changed the atmosphere. But wait. There's no way that claustrophobic Palti-chan can go into such a small shower room by herself. Haha, I see. Is that what you mean? Ugh. Aaliyah stared at them with an unpleasant look in her eyes, causing Sho and Palti to squeak. This made Dirt, Apuesta, and Myron realize what was going on. Hey, Palti, you took a shower with Sho? That's not fair. I knew about Sho, but Palti was naughty too. Haha, were you guys messing around without me? You've got some nerve. I'm sure you're not the only one who wants to have fun. What? Whoa. No. It's Palti, say something. Sho, who was being cornered, hurriedly called out to Palti, but I'm sorry. Palti just turned red all over her face and apologized. Oh, you admit it. Heh, you're doing great, Sho. What a way to grow up. You two are nasty. Ki, you don't respond to my temptations at all. What do you mean, Shokuen? That's not why I'm here. All that fuss stopped as soon as the venison burger was finished. Well, there's no way a nasty boy like Shokuen can mess with Palti, right? Yeah, but this is still good. Well done, Palti. Haha, more food than sex, huh? It's okay though, because it saved my life. Sho knew that he was just being teased and complained. Thank you very much, Sensei, and please eat as much as you can. Yes, Dirt replied loudly, and together with Myron, they selflessly proceeded to munch on their burgers. Apparently, they were both very satisfied. Even Apuesta, who had been glaring at Sho and Palti for a while, was staring at the hamburger, mumbling something to herself, as if she had forgotten about the previous incident. She seemed to be thinking about business. Haha, managed to save the day. I'm sorry, please Sho, have a lot of food. Oh, yeah, thanks Palti. Sho was released and Palti smiled and brought him a venison burger. It was really delicious, and Sho thought to himself, I'm glad I was able to catch a deer despite all that slapstick.